Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to Valmoster. We're back on the Tour de Ski, the 11th edition of the event. Things already getting underway, as you can see, and slightly overdue the ski jumping, but we haven't missed too much. Just the first round of the women's, and we'll catch up with their quarterfinals as soon as the first round of the men's is complete. Mike Dixon alongside me, Patrick Winston. Mike, it's quite a tough course, but that long downhill does give these athletes a chance to recover probably 95-96%.
It does. It buys a lot of recovery time, so it's almost two sets of sprints within this one lap, and it's twice round the lap of 763 metres.
And because of that profile of the course, tactically, the second time down the descent, you have to be in touch. You have to be in a position where you can attack, because the course from the bottom of the hill is still quite technical.
It really is, and it's one of the steepest. They're only a couple of, 150 metres. One of the steepest sections that we do find in all of the sprint races on the calendar.
So the first heat of the men's quarterfinals has been completed. Lots of tussle, and you can tell from the bib numbers that the big names are all in there. Very surprising to see four of the top five electing to go in Group 1. A little bit of reverse psychology there, I think, Mike. It's slightly surprised. Ustigov probably thought he was strong enough to win it, whatever. Pellegrino, I don't know why he wanted to go in Group number 1, apart from the fact that you get more rest. So
well, that's it. They're buying themselves recovery time, but a lot of risk there. It was a fast time, though, Patrick, just 2 seconds slower than Ustigov's earlier run-out time, where he led by 4 seconds.
So Ustigov, Shanava go through by right, and Pellegrino will have to wait and see. He's trying to become the first man ever to win 3 Tour de Ski sprint stages, and actually he won here 2 years ago, so it's a course that he likes. So heat number 2, some big names in this one as well. Let's go along the line. Hakala for Finland, number 24, that is Erwin Kaiser for Switzerland, and he's going to have a big cheer here. Dario Colonia is the man that's put Swiss cross-country skiing on the map for this millennium. Well, there's a man you'll all recognise, Martin Jonsrud Sundby, the winner last year of the Tour. He won 2 years ago. That, of course, has been taken away from him due to the controversy with salbutamol. We'll talk about that at some stage, no doubt. Krug on the near side wearing 6. We've got Len Valius of Canada wearing 21. And we didn't really get a good look at Marcus Hellner of Sweden, who goes wearing 27. Big news from Sweden, Mike, I guess. Halvorsen, who was leading the overall World Cup earlier this season, he's decided not to take part in the Tour. Quite
incredible. We saw his great form, as you said, leading the overall World Cup. At one point, clearly the World Championships are on his mind.
Well, let's have a good look at the course. Obviously out of the start, a gradual climb, but it gets steeper and steeper. They go under the Helvetia banner, and then they break to the left. And this is when the long descent starts. So tactically, Mike, for that first phase, you want to stay in touch, but being in front, is that important?
I think it is. It shouldn't be clearly wanting to buy himself the safety out front, in second place, sorry. Krog, desperate to lead the way. We see him doing that so often. It just buys you clear space. And here's the recovery you're talking about. It's a huge recovery.
But look at the distance between first and last, and they're always going to be in single file down through the S-bends, and therefore, if you are at the back, you're going to have some 30 metres to make up. The slipstream might help on this next descent. The camel humps as they work their way down to the lowest bit of the course, and then it's another left-hander. You want to have a strong right leg for this course, and now they go through it all again. There you have the bell.
Well, I love all the technical aspects of this course. You saw the 3 humps there. Now we've got the flat section. So important to buy yourself closeness to the front if at all possible. You do not want to be left behind along here before the steep climb. Hellner beginning to work his way around the outside, but his qualifying time wasn't great, wearing bib 27. We often see on this course, or we've seen in the past, like Alex Harvey springs to mind. He's coming in later, but we've often seen the last 200 metres are crucial on this course as well.
Well, here's the second steep climb, and the 2 Norwegians have worked well. They've got themselves, a 3-metre advantage over the Finn. That's a Ristomati Hakala in third place at the moment. Krug still leading. Sundby on his tail, as he has been from the very start of this course. 2:05 going through that top banner for the second time. Remember that, because that might be a useful split time for the 3 quarterfinals still to come. Krug just a little bit careful. He's a tall man. He finds that corner a little harder than the likes of Sundby, who's very sharp. Then they break to the right.
And although we say there's a lot of rest in this course, there's a rest in terms of getting your breathing under control, but not your legs. Your legs are working all the way along this course.
Now, this is where the Norwegians can't afford to throw away their advantage here, Mike. Sundby having a very long look over his shoulder.
They're looking good and clear so far. As soon as you've got a 10-metre gap, oh, man down. Not good. That was
Hakala gone down, and he's taken out Erwin Kaiser of Switzerland. I'm not sure Kaiser was going to get anywhere near it. And an easy win for Krug and Sundby. They're coming through. They just need to keep half an eye on Len Valius of Canada.
That's
a little
risky.
bit cheeky from Krug, but save every ounce of energy you can for the semis and the finals should you get that far. So Sundby 3:05, it's a good 2 seconds quicker, over 2 seconds slower, I should say, than heat number 1. So that looks good for Pellegrino and Iversen. Pellegrino still a lucky loser. We'll have to wait and see whether Len Valius has pipped Iversen's time. I think he has. I think Iversen was 3:05.
Well, that
80.
That was Hakala's own fault there, and nowhere to go for Kaiser. He just could not get round.
Yeah, a little unlucky. His right ski went under the advertising horsing, and that brought him down. He's probably done some damage to the ski as well. Not the way he wanted to start his Tour de Ski, but he did make it through to the last 30. There are plenty of big names who failed on that account. Deerhaug, Heikkinen, Gaillard of France, Rutte of Norway didn't make it through, and actually Kozicek of the Czech Republic. Now, have a look at that. Top name, Andrew Young of Great Britain. Don't forget he got on the podium in a Tour de Ski sprint last year. He'll be thinking in terms of doing something similar, and we've seen very little of Andrew Young so far this year. Illness hit him right after the start of the season, and he's been waiting patiently for the Tour to start.
And I must say his time was excellent there. He's used, well, 11th position on the time trial earlier.
So there's Andrew Young. He's a big man. He's a strong man. Any weaknesses in his game, Mike?
I think he's in terms of sprinting, he's the all-round package. He's got the height, the strength, the muscular ability. His health is the only thing that lets him down.
Tactics, psychology?
Used to play a part. He's maturing now. I think he's mostly got his strategies right, and he's such a strong athlete.
Well, let's see what he does here today. He doesn't want to get caught on the inside. Remember Lenzerheide at the beginning of last year on a very similar course, actually, and up around the top, back down again. Caught his left arm on a piece of rope hanging on the inside of the track. Almost pulled his arm off, but certainly pulled him out of the race. That was the end of his challenge. Let's see how he does today. And he's leading the way. Andrew Young with 11 on his bib. He's the fastest qualifier from this quarter-final. Bernard Tritcher wearing 12 in there for Austria as well, just behind Young. We've got Jan Barton of the Czech Republic, 15. Where's he? Right at the back. Jan Barton playing a patient game.
I think Jan Barton's a clever young athlete. Junior world champion, junior under-23 world champion in sprinting. He knows his game well. They took him to the last world championships in Falun when he was only 20, and he performed really well there also.
6 skiers representing 6 different nations, and the first thing to strike you when you look at those who made it through to the knockout phases is the number of different nations. We've only got 4 Norwegians, 2 Italians, 3 French. Other than that, we've just got 1 from each nation. Russia struggling a little. We'll talk about those Russians who've been pulled out of the Tour for various reasons, but let's focus on Andrew Young at the moment. Through the belt, still looking strong, controlling things. He's in just the right position, Mike, trying to tempt someone to go on that inside.
He is indeed, but you know, all athletes at the very top of the game, they make it look so easy, and Andrew Young makes it look easy. He's being challenged now. He needs to keep his line, keep his mindset exactly where he had it prepared.
Andrei Larkov starting to make a move. Number 20 is Maciej Starega, who did a really good race here a couple of years ago in the Tour. Finished 7th, just missed out on getting through to the finals. And it's Starega who leads at the moment. Young still well positioned in second, but he has to be aware that it's going to get tight. Well, that's good news for the Britain. I think that's Bernard Tritcher going down of Austria. It is with the yellow headband on. Bad mistake to make. Maybe we'll see a replay of that. And Young in a perfect position at the moment. The 11th fastest qualifier. That is just where you want to be.
Now, Andrew, he can buy himself breathing recovery time down this hill. He needs to try and get a little closer to Starega.
3:03.64. The lucky loser spot at the moment.
Young, he just had a little look behind him, just making sure he knows where the rest of the...
He's still got to be careful. He's looking very relaxed, Mike, but Heidegger's no slouch. He could spring. He's the man in black for Switzerland. Jan Barton of the Czech Republic still fighting his way, trying to get through the group is Larkov of Russia, and he may well find a way around the outside. Young now has to be careful. He's pushed wide. Starega on his inside. Young looking for space, and Starega's moving over to the right, so this is going to be a difficult finish. But Andrew Young looking fantastic in the closing stages. I think he's going to take the win in heat number 3, and the Swiss will enjoy that. Well done to Andrew Young. He's through to the semi-finals, and he's showing the sort of form we saw from him in the Tour de Ski last year. Brilliant.
That was outstanding. I thought he was and I'm sure the jury will look at it. Heidegger cut him off on the inside. Andrew kept his cool and just pressed that turbo button when he needed.
Well, I asked you about his tactics earlier on, Mike, and you said he'd matured. He certainly has. Got a couple of spies up in Norway who've been watching him pre-season, saying he's getting much, much smarter. Now, there was a danger that Starega could cut him off here, but he did well to fight his way through.
And I think Heidegger actually will be viewed. There was contact there. Heidegger took the inside line when Andrew had the inside line. I think the jury will be having a little replay on that one.
Well, just by the nature of the racing, lots goes on. There are rules. It's not free for all out there. 3:09.08. It's a slow heat, and that's good news as well. So now we watch the former world number 1, Dario Colonia, and he is going to get support like no one else here today. Colonia up against Bing of Germany. We've got Simeon Hamilton, who's done here in the past. He finished just behind Starega 2 years ago in 8th position, so keep an eye on him. He's wearing 14. 25 is Alex Harvey, the best of the Canadians, I think it's fair to say, in terms of chances in the overall Tour de Ski. Number 10, that's Thomas Bing of Germany. Small, compact. He's fast. Watch him.
Well, Colonia, he let's be honest, he hasn't had a great start in terms of sprinting to his season. 57th at the first World Cup. In Lillehammer sprint, he was 43rd. Then in Davos, only 40th at home. But he's qualified 7th. I think he's got his form back, Patrick.
Colonia on the near side, Bing next to him. Number 14, that's Simeon Hamilton of the USA, and Hamilton's gone for the slow start. We talked about starting tactics earlier. Mike, you think it's a good idea to get out in front? Sunby certainly thought so. He wanted to be in the front too. If you're going to go as slow as Hamilton, then you've got to accept that at some stage you're going to have to fight your way through.
I think you are, and it's not an easy one. You're taking the outside line here. It's a lot more work, so it's better to be at the front. You can select all your best race lines.
And you can see Hamilton being interrupted in terms of his style and his rhythm, and that can prove expensive. At the back of the field at the moment is Alex Harvey, so the North Americans opting for a steady approach. But I can't believe, actually, Mike, they've saved that much energy by dropping back.
Well, Alex Harvey, we know how good a sprinter he is, and for me, one of the best tacticians, and that's why I was saying earlier, the last 200 meters, someone like Alex Harvey will probably leave it, because he just can't get through. We'll leave it to the last 200.
Well, his options are the second time up the long climb.
And that's what Northug used to do on the second rotation. That's the only other passing place now, just coming up as you go through the stadium.
But if you do that,
it's a lot of energy.
Well, one, it's a lot of energy for this race, but two, thinking in terms of the future, it doesn't do much for your chances in the semi-finals or the final. So here comes Alex Harvey. He had no choice. He's broken to his right. He's on the left of your screen at the moment. He's gone from 6th up into 4th position, but it's still Germany leading with Thomas Bing, who's looking very solid.
Well, the door was firmly closed there with Dominik Baldauf closing that door, the Austrian, not allowing Harvey to come through.
Now, the scriptwriters certainly don't want number 7 to go out at this stage. Dario Colonia, he's well positioned in 2nd at the moment, and the pace is quite good. Up towards the climb. Earlier heats went through that top climb. What was it? 2:05, so I think this is reasonably quick, Mike.
Dario's looking great, bib 7, he's going the long way around, but he has to hold his line there. He can't quite get round. Yes, he will. Thomas Bing maybe into second place. Not yet.
Alex Harvey puts in another burst on the top section. That's not a bad move, but he's got to be very, very good on his feet to be able to get round the corner. Cut off by, I think that might well have been Tonseth, who just obstructed him a little. Tonseth wearing 23, he's dropped back. Harvey just in front of him.
I'm still believing in Harvey, but Bing is fast. We know that Cologna's back on form. It's going to be hard work.
So Bing leading, Colonia in second. There haven't been a huge number of positional changes. Harvey's the one who's made ground, and now he goes up into third, but he's on the outside for this final corner. He's got to hang on in there, make sure he avoids the barriers on the right-hand side. He does so. Bing leading, Colonia now racing for his life. 3 minutes on the clock. I'm not sure we're going to get lucky losers from this heat either. It's Alex Harvey who's coming strong in the final stages, and Dario Colonia has to wait and see whether he's done enough. 3:07. I think he's out, Mike.
I think he is. That's a real pity for the Swiss, for Colonia. Alex Harvey, that was the way to do it. He'd started slow deliberately. He didn't want to get involved early on with all that argy-bargy up the first climb. I know he couldn't get past anyway, but his finish pace is wonderful.
I hate to disagree with you. I think that's the way to win the final. That's a really good tactic for the final, provided you're not out of touch.
I think he'll do the same.
But when you've got 2 more races to go, he may be able to do it once more. How often do we see someone succeeding with those tactics all the way through? Nortug's just about the only man who's managed to do it.
We'll have to wait and see. It is a risky strategy, but we saw the turn of pace that he could commit, and we've seen it so often. He's a very clever, I think, a very clever sprinter.
Well, the hand going up from Didrik Tonseth. Maybe he felt he was obstructed a little. Back down in 6th position, 161 behind. Only 1 heat to go, and look who's in it. Andy Musgrave. He's done exceptionally well to qualify for the sprint final. He's not renowned as a sprinter. To make the top 30, Mike, that's outstanding.
Yeah, he's
I say to make the top 30. Not only did he do that, he made the top 20, he made the top 10. He was 9th in qualifying, his best ever qualifying.
It's brilliant, it really is. He spent the Christmas time in Pontresina with his family, so relaxed, recharged, and that's a great venue for spending Christmas.
Roman Ferger for Switzerland. So the Swiss hoping that he can do something where Dario Colonia couldn't. There's Renauget of France, the French, obviously with a strong team. Magnificat, the best of them. So let's see what the tactics are from Andy Musgrave. A little bit slow off the blocks, and actually not looking nearly as convincing as Andy Young did on this stage.
No, Muzzy put in really fast tempo there. He's got great ability to really move the legs and arms really fast, but not quite enough to get him in the top 2.
I think he'd be delighted if he made it through to the semis, Mike. He'll be thinking in terms of winning, but when he sits down tonight, if he makes it through to the semis, that has to go down as a good day.
It has, and what a great day for British cross-country skiing. It's becoming a norm now in sprint racing to see great to see Youngie back after bad health. You know, we often in sprint racing, we so often will see them in the top 30 now, top 15, and hopefully on the podium by the end of today. Yeah,
his story is an inspiring one, really. I know he learnt to ski as a kid out in Alaska, following his dad around the oil companies, but you know, the commitment he showed from a young teenager, moving out to Norway, learning the language in about 5 minutes,
he's so
getting
clever.
himself involved with a club, continuing his studies out there. The Norwegians have huge respect for this young man, and we're just hoping that he can take it up one more level. So many times this season already, finishing in the top 15. And one bit of good news for Muzzy Mike is the fact that this year in the Tour, this is the only sprint stage.
Well, it is. It's unusual. De Fabiani, that was unlucky. He's the man who fell on the corner coming into this finish area, but they're going through, of course, this time.
Well, I think this is where Musgrave's got to start working hard if he wants to secure a top 2 finish in this group. Have a look at the time at the top. The last group went through the top banner in 2:02. 2:03, and they look to be some way behind that. Musgrave looking for a gap on the left-hand side. It's going to be tight in terms of getting through the banner. He does that with a nifty change in technique, but that might have lost him a metre or so. But he's on the inside on the next turn. But it's the Frenchman who's looking better placed, Jay, who's accelerated away.
Yilai, the Finn, fourth position now. That was a brave move. He went on the wide, on the outside, but it didn't work.
Switzerland, France, Great Britain, the leading three at that moment. And going wide is Renaud Jay. He's a little bit lucky, but he's still in there, hanging on in. What a final we're going to have in around 45 minutes' time.
This is such a brilliant course. Look at all this technical aspects. No recovery whatsoever in terms of your legs, except your breathing does get some recovery. Come on, Muzzy. Bib number 9,
He's in
place.
third position at the moment. So here we go, last 100 metres. Jay still leading for France in the teal blue, as it's called. Switzerland in the black, but now Musgrave starts to show some strength, and he moves up into second place. He might even take the win in this one. Good timing from Musgrave, and 3:08 the time, so some 5 seconds slower than the first heat that we saw. And that means that from my book, Federico Pellegrino is going through as a lucky loser. That's great news, because he was the winner at this event 2 years ago. 2 Brits through to the semis, first time ever. Well, let's have a look at the lineup for the women's semi-finals. Number 1, the fastest qualifier, one of the outstanding sprintings over the last 2 seasons, Stina Nilsson of Sweden, big and strong. Number 22, certainly not expected to make the semis, but she's done it, Lorien van der Graaf. And van der Graaf actually did really well here 2 years ago in the Tour de Ski. She finished it, she got through to the final, so she'll be hoping to do the same again. Will the tactics be the same as the men's? And not many of the women on the tour have that explosive power over the last 200 metres, Mike, so we may see a few who want to try and get clear on the second time up the big hill.
I think so, and the women doing the exact same track, same course as the men, it's quite an ask. They'll be somewhat 26, 28 seconds slower than the men. And Stina Nilsson, I think, has got the strength, the technique to try and hold this from the front for most of the race. It's Jess Diggins is going to challenge. In fact, there's Jess at the front now. It's not an easy semi-final, this.
35 seconds or so through the bottom barrier. And now the long descent. One thing I really like about this course is the technical requirements for this section of the course, Mike. For those who are really comfortable on the skis, there's an opportunity to move from, what, 4th up into 5th, provided those in front aren't obstructing you. But because it is so technical, your advice still is to get yourself into the top 2 at the first time up the summit.
I think so. If you're like Nilsson, yeah, clearly if you've got the form, that's, I think, a safer place, a safer bet. Then you can run your own race without getting tied up in the traffic jam.
Jess Diggins in second place for the USA. Now, I think having seen Jess win already, she's produced the best American 15K result ever in the World Cup this year. She's lying in second in this heat. She's got to be someone that we consider for a podium finish, if not a win of the Tour de Ski.
As you say, she's got the distance. Remember that victory over 5 kilometers in Lillehammer? She took that with apparent ease, and boy, did she fight hard. She's a real fighter. Fala's surprising me, Patrick. Bib 13, she's trying so hard to move up. She slowly is, but normally we'd see her at the front. Oh, nearly crossing skis there with Diggins.
Fala is the number 1 in the Sprint World Cup at the moment, number 13 on the right-hand side. Now she's starting to make an impression, going past Jessie Diggins and drawing up alongside Stina Nilsson of Sweden. So Sweden and Norway out front. Really, this event dominated by Sweden, Norway, Finland. They've got 11 of the 30 competitors. Slovenia actually a big surprise. They've got 4 through to the last 30, but most of them being knocked out in the first phase.
That's right. Fabian coming up later in the next semi-final. I thought that was great from Stina Nielsen. She saw, of course, Fala, the best sprinter, coming near her, and she really put a surge on, and it's destroyed the rest of the field.
2:50 on the clock already. Now the camel hunts to negotiate, and Stina Nielsen, now she shows the when you've got that ability to free skate, Mike, you can really accelerate. And a lot of people think, well, surely using the legs and the arms is quicker, but if you can stay low in an aerodynamic position, you are going to build speed on a flat or gradually downhill section.
Oh, you're absolutely... Look how much she's gained by doing that. Does she need to go this fast? She could back off now. There's still the finals.
Fowler certainly has to keep pushing. Jessie Diggins is fighting for a lucky loser spot. Keep an eye on the clock. 3:28 for Nielsen, 3:29 thereabouts for Fowler, and Diggins in 3:29.7.
Do you know, I think that might be good enough to qualify for the final for Diggins.
Well, when we compare it to their qualifying time earlier on today, and just for those of you who don't know, I'm sure some of you are first-timers for the Tour de Ski and for the cross-country sprints. We have however many entries we have. They race off in a time trial. Only the top 30 go through to the knockout phases. And Nielsen won that with a time of 3:28.28. So her third race of the day, and they're still producing times of 3:28. It's incredible.
It really, really is. What a beautiful location it is as well, and at what, 1,200 meters altitude.
Nielsen, Fowler safely through. Diggins and Van der Graaf have to wait and see whether they've done enough to make it into the last 6. Well, here's the lineup. Can they beat 3:28? I think it's unlikely. I think Diggins might be quite quietly confident with her performance. 3:30.5. Heidi Weng, number 1 in the world this season, having a much better season than we've ever seen from her before. Surely, well, of course, part of it is due to the fact that Johaug isn't allowed to race. Marit Bjørgen is dipping in and out of the World Cup on her comeback. And incidentally, Marit Bjørgen not taking part in the Tour. Johaug, last year's winner, she's not taking part, not allowed to take part in the Tour. There's Parmakovsky. Now, I put her in the same bracket as Jessie Diggins. I think she's a really talented all-rounder, Parmakovsky. I think she could do something this year.
And we've seen such a big improvement with the World Championships coming to Finland. It's motivated her again.
Anyone who beats 3:30 should find themselves through to the final. Watch their time at the top. 35 on the first of the banners they go under, 46 on the second of the black banners that they go under before they start the pursuit. That will give you some idea of how quickly they've gone off.
I think it's fair to say, thinking about Parmakovsky, remember the first sprint of the season up in Finland, she destroyed the rest of the field wearing bib number 1. Then I think she dropped her way back down to 3rd in the final. But she's more a classic technique athlete than a freestyle. She's at the back now. Hopefully she can find form and push her way through to get through to the final.
Noy, of course, taking 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the women's Tour de Ski last year. Johaug ahead of Østberg and Weng. This year, without Johaug, it still looks as though it's going to be a battle between Østberg and Weng. Which way do you think that pendulum's likely to swing?
Well, it's a big... They're good friends, but they're really competitive. Last year, it was Østberg who, after all the races, was only 53 seconds faster than Weng. We'll have to wait and see. Østberg, for me, has got a real good mindset this season. Without Johaug, without Marit Bjørgen, but pushing for the overall, she believes in herself more.
If we wind the clock forward to the final stage of the Tour de Ski next Sunday, the 8th of January, you'd think that Østberg will need a lead of a minute at least over Heidi Weng, because Østberg's strength is not the Elchemise.
Well, that's so true. So Weng, and Weng traditionally has started quite poorly in the Tour. She looks like she's pushing through now, bib 20.
Yeah, Weng on the left-hand side. Østberg, number 2, has controlled this one from the outset and looked very confident. Sandra Ringvald in 2nd place for Germany, wearing 4. And number 23, that's Harsum, another of the Norwegians. So we've got 3 Norwegians in this heat. Ringvald's still looking good. Østberg very well balanced. One of the advantages of leading is you've obviously got no one in front to obstruct you. You can see exactly where you want to put the ski. You can see any snow cookies that are or ice cookies that may have got onto the track. So there's a lot to be said for leading.
There absolutely is. You don't get the body language of any of the others. If you're further back, you see how people are looking, and that can give you a little bit of hope. But out front, you're racing blind. Only your race.
Heidi Weng having to jostle her way from one side of the course to the other, trying to find a way through, but she still sees two of her Norwegian teammates in front of her. This is going to be a battle.
Well, Ringvald held her nerve so long, but now the pace of the Norwegians has just burnt her off, burnt her backwards. And Fabian, she's tried, but never really, the Slovenian, never really in this semi.
Remember, they're looking for a time sub 3:30. Should be good enough to go through. One of the Norwegians may well miss out. Jessie Dickens is in the finish area watching the clock, hoping that she's done enough to go through to the last 6. In terms of the Tour de Ski, Mike, how crucial for someone like Weng to go through to the last stage?
Today, I think she can make it up in the distance races. She won't be too flustered, but she really wants to get in the mix. Very different tactics here in the women's field than the men's. Slightly less aggressive round the corner.
So Østberg, who's led all the way, suddenly finds herself outwitted by Harsum, who's accelerated over those last 150. And now it's a battle between Østberg and Weng, and that is going to be won by Heidi Weng, who's going to be an automatic qualifier for the last 6. Østberg will have to wait and see. I'm not sure it's quick enough. 3:32.4. Østberg's tactics did not work. It's between Van der Graaf, I think, and Østberg. It's going to be close. We'll wait for the official one on that. Just fractions of a second in it. Welcome back to Valmoster, just in time to see the lineup for the first of the men's semi-finals. Number 6, Finn Hagen Krogh of Norway, having a very, very good season, but outshone in many races by Martin Jonsrud Sundby, who's back on top of the World Cup. He is the yellow bib wearer when we get back on the normal World Cup. Lucas Chanava, outstanding qualifying run, looked very good in the first round. And here's Andrew Young, not particularly quick, but that could well play to his advantage, Mike. What was he, 3:09 for that first heat that he won?
I hope so, and his strategy will be different with Ustigov alongside him this time.
Yeah, Ustigov's not going to hang around. What was the margin between Ustigov and the rest of the field in qualifying? 3:01.24 versus Pellegrino, who was 3:05.42. 4 seconds. Ustigov on the near side, Andrew Young next to him with a slightly slower start this time. So a change in tactics from Andrew Young, who was fully confident in the quarterfinals. Mike went straight to the front and really dictated the pace all the way through.
Well, I think he was given so much respect in that earlier trial where he was the lowest bib number, therefore the fastest in qualifying. Now this is very serious when it comes to the semi.
Both Andrew Young and Andrew Musgrave starting their skiing careers on tarmac up in, or not quite true for Andrew Musgrave, but certainly for Andrew Young on the tarmac track. What is it, 1.3 kilometres or something around Huntly?
Yeah, incredible. And they had initially, it was a mat for classic skiing, a grass trackway, plastic trackway. So it's amazing what can be achieved by just getting out there and going through the skills of balance and competition and team spirit.
Chanava of France leading, Ustiakov of Russia, the fastest qualifier, in second place, hence he has bib number 1. Krogh of Norway, well positioned in third at the moment. Behind him is Great Britain's Andrew Young, and then we have another 2 Norwegians. It really is a packed field, this. Iversen and Sundby. Well, there are 2 men you don't really want behind you in an event. It's Iversen and Sundby.
Well, I have to say, Sundby at the back, for me, has just looked composed. He doesn't want to get in the fight yet, but surely he's got to press the turbos right now.
You don't think he's more interested in the overall tour, whether he's just going to say, OK, conserve energy, day one, I've made it through to the semis?
I think that would be reasonably sensible. We know how good his distance is, but I think he's so competitive, he won't let this go without a fight.
Andrew Young's not looking quite as comfortable in this run as he did in the quarters, and starting to lose ground rapidly. Now some 15 metres behind Ustigov, who's dictating the pace here. Krogh behind him. Chanava of France in third at the moment as Sundby makes a move on the right-hand side up the steeper section of the course, and watch Sundby dance his way to the top of this one. Still Ustiakov leading. There's no doubt that Ustiakov is brute force. Sundby is not only has he got the power, but he's got elegance as well.
He has. Sundby came through well. He did trip a little towards the top. Andrew Young, that's a pity. All the training he's missed through ill health is now catching up with him. That's a pity.
Well, I think that's the last we're going to see of him on the tour, to be honest. He's an out-and-out sprinter, and this the only sprint phase. Only once before, I think it was 2007, we had a tour with only 1 sprint phase. I think actually in a way, unless you're going to equal it up so the sprinters have a chance of winning the overall tour, Mike, you might as well go the other way and just say, okay, we'll have one at the start and then the sprinters can rest and go and train up for the rest of the World Cup season.
And it's a great spectacle seeing the sprinters here. Ustigov is absolutely on fire today. He's still, I'm not sure it's the best strategy because he's still got the final to go, but he's faster than anybody else.
So Ustigov's going to win this one. Krog's going to take second. Sumbi's going into a lucky loser spot unless he can do something incredible over the last 30. It's not going to happen. And Shanava also has to wait and see. 3:03.5 is still impressively quick. Ustiugov did 3:01.24 in the qualifying earlier on this morning.
Do you know, I think that the four or two lucky losers will come from this heat. That is so fast, 3:02.35. So I think Sumbi and Shanava will go through.
Yeah, if you think the last couple of quarterfinals were 3:09 and 3:08, Andrew Young, good on the first lap, didn't seem to have anything to give. You could see the grimace on his face going up the climb for the second time. I think having Sumbi just move past him, it can take a lot of energy out of you, being overtaken.
Yes, and I think in the quarter-final we saw Andrew tie up a little on that final climb. That showed maybe his lack of racing this season due to ill health, but I think he's done very well today to get through to the semi.
Well, we've got another Brit to go. Andrew Musgrave's also made it through. There you see the results of that first semi. Ustigov taking the win easily. Great Britain, Canada, Germany, France, Russia and Italy in the second semi-final. Federico Pellegrino. Now, from the first heat, he finds himself in the second semi-final. He's had a huge amount of rest compared to the rest. Surely he's going to be able to move a stage further in this one. Best Italian sprinter ever, or do you think De Zorzi's still there?
Zorzi was great, wasn't he, in his day? I think Pellegrino better, slightly better.
Yeah, more consistent perhaps.
Zorzi was exciting though.
Good tactics from Jay in the first round. Alex Harvey, he waited, and he waited to the last 100 metres and then made his move to find his way into the semis. Andrew Musgrave had to fight a little, but he's getting better at sprinting, but he still wouldn't class himself as amongst the best. And Thomas Bing of Germany, I don't know how much energy he saved, but he didn't seem to have too much trouble coming through to the semis.
He looked very good. Bing, for me, should go through.
Who's going to lead?
I was wondering that, probably Pellegrino. I mean, nobody will really want to take this on, but Pellegrino with the highest ranking will probably have to take it on. And there he is at the front.
Early, and everyone just slotting in behind him. For Russia, we've got Andrei Larkov wearing 19. Pellegrino, obviously, 2 in the dark suit of the Italians. Andy Musgrave is the first to the base of the steep climb. Actually, I think at this stage, it's better to be over on the right because you save yourself about 3/4 of a metre of climbing. It doesn't sound a lot, but by the time you get to the top, you wish you hadn't got it to go.
It's a big deal. By my calculation, this is already 1.5 seconds slower than the previous one, so I think we're only going to see 2 going through from this heat. It's not fast enough yet.
Well, that's good news for Sumbi and Shanava, provided they want to have another race.
Alex Harvey didn't want to take this on. I thought Bing would take it on, but everybody's they're aware that there's only 2 places up for sale here.
Well, Musgrave has been allowed to get away, and it's not with a huge amount of effort he's done it. He's got a 10-metre lead over Pellegrino. I think Musgrave's got to capitalise on this, and when he gets to the bottom of the hill, just go for broke. Don't worry about what happens in the final, but absolutely let rip on the second ascent and make the rest work.
Come on, Muzzy, great, a brave move going out front. He's got good separation, although they're closing in now.
Not a brilliant cornering there, hasn't carried a huge amount of speed. That's a crucial part of the course on the last time round, but Muzzy's still easing up. He's not trying to take advantage of that lead he had. Larkov of Russia starting to make a move on the inside. Sitting at the back, as he did in the quarterfinals, is Alex Harvey in the red of Canada, number 25. 17, that's Renaud J, still hasn't made any move as yet, and Musgrave drops from first down into 4th or 5th. Now he starts to up the energy rate. Well, that was, I think it looked as though that was the game plan, Mike. Save your energy till later on.
I think so. Thomas Bing, I thought, would lead it, but it's, of course, the main sprinter in the group, Pellegrino, now really opening it up.
Well, look at Pellegrino's tempo up that climb. That's fantastic. It's easy to do for a couple of strides, Mike, but it gets tough when you get further and further up the hill. Left behind now, Renauget of France. We won't see him competing for the top. And I think the winner is determined. Pellegrino's going to take this one. It's between Larkov of Russia, Thomas Bing of Germany. Alex Harvey's still there, ready to pounce, still controlling his speed. And Musgrave's not out of this one yet, but he's done well to get through to the semi-finals, and he was 9th fastest in the qualifying this morning, so he's going to pick up, I think that's going to be his best sprint result ever.
It's good, it's very, very good. I think he's had an 11th in the past. Larkov, Bing's run out of steam there. Come on, Muzzy, you can still do this.
Well, he's got a corner this time better than he did last time. You need the speed into the home straight. Pellegrino still leading and looking very comfortable. Larkov in second place. Musgrave way back in 5th at the moment. There won't be a change there. Keep an eye on Harvey in the red. He could get through into second. Larkov could be denied. It's a photo finish between Harvey and Larkov. I think it could well go to the Canadian. 3:12.1 for 3rd place, and that means that Sumbi and Chanovat go through. But that second semi, Mike, with Pellegrino a whole lot slower. It's looking good for Pellegrino to become the first man to win 3 Tour de Ski sprints.
Well, we'll have to, it's unfortunate in a way that he qualified as a lucky loser, because he would normally have been in that first semi-final. With bib number 2, he went in the first group. Alex Harvey, I love the way he sprints. He just leaves it to the last, well, the last 2 meters mostly.
He cut that one fine. There's Jay. Oh, it's a horrible feeling once the body weight goes in front of your feet. Very difficult to recover indeed. There was Harvey's finish. Larkov will be bitterly disappointed. I'm not sure he was aware the Canadian was coming up. 3:11.33, the winning time. Musgrave 2.85 down.
And look at the time, 3:11 as opposed to the first of the 2 semis, 3:02.
So there you see the finalists in the men's. Ustigov, Pellegrino, the 2 favourites. Russia versus Italy. Should be a cracker. Welcome back to Val Moster. We are through to the final stages of the first stage of the 11th Tour de Ski. It's a sprint in Val Moster, and it is, as we've mentioned a couple of times, the only sprint of the season. There's Heidi Weng. She's looking a little bit anxious. Does she fly the Norwegian flag? Usberg, we thought, was going to be the one to watch today, but Usberg's tactics looked to be wrong, Mike. She did all the hard work early on, and would you have advised her stick in second, just stay second, get some benefit from the others?
I think that was probably discussed with her, because remember in La Clusa, the 10-kilometer freestyle must start, she led for most of the race. In the last 100 meters, she was taken by Marit Bjørgen and, of course, by Weng. She gets that final part of her race wrong, and she'll be really annoyed about that. I thought she would get through to the final, but she's lost some points here to her main opposition, Weng.
Yeah, so first blood to Weng in terms of the Tour de Ski title for 2016-2017. We run all the way through to Sunday, the 8th of January. We stay in Val Moster. Tomorrow, the ladies racing over 5K, the men over 10, Oberstdorf, Toblach, and then, of course, Val di Fiemme for the final stages.
I think this will be different this time, Patrick, because they're not racing against the clock or to qualify. It's all about the win and the podium. So I don't think anybody will want to lead too dramatically unless Nielsen thinks, well, it's worked for me twice already. I'll stick with that strategy. But I think it'll be an awful lot slower to begin with.
Well, you don't see many people wearing their jacket around their waist, but Heidi Weng, well aware that the most important part of the body in this term is the hips and the thighs. Keep them warm as long as possible.
Yes,
here we go. Off it comes.
Dropped into the shade here. Sun was on the track, but they lose it quite early here, of course. Darkness falling very soon as well.
Well, the fans will be disappointed that Dario Colonia went out so early, but they've seen some very good racing, and they do have Lorian van der Graaf, who's made it through to the final stages. Van der Graaf 6th in Val Moster 2 years ago. Can she improve on it this time? So the lineup for the women's finals. number 20, Heidi Weng of Norway, the World Cup leader, having notched up something like 50 podium finishes before she got a win. She's now getting one win after another. Not sure she can win here today, but she won a classic sprint in Lillehammer earlier in the season. There is Van der Graaf, and the Swiss hopes are all on her now. Jessie Diggins, there's always a big smile. Slightly surprised to see the gloves off, but you do have slightly better control, provided you've got some feeling in the fingers. Harsum, wow, she looked great in the semi-final, Mike. That last, 400 metres was brilliantly raced.
She found something special.
Nielsen, still the favourite, having qualified in first place, but it is more often that the person who wins qualifying doesn't win the overall race. That's certainly the case in the men's. We'll see what happens in the women's. And Faller of Norway, another outstanding sprinter. So Faller, Nielsen, Harsum, Diggins, Van der Graaf, and on the far side, Heidi Weng of Norway. So 3 Norwegians, 1 Swiss. We've got USA represented by Jessie Diggins, who's been their star over the last few weeks of the World Cup. And of course, Stina Nielsen of Sweden, who's leading the way. She's a brilliant under-23 athlete, Mike, but I just think she's got stronger. She looks more confident on the ski this year, tactically. She doesn't bow down to anyone.
No, she doesn't, and that's bravery once again, leading the way at the front. Is it the best scenario this time round when there's a pack of hunting Norwegians, 3 of them breathing on her?
Now, Heidi Weng had to fight to qualify ahead of Usberg, Mike. I think we need to keep an eye on Harsum, because I thought her tactics were brilliant in the semi-final. She waited behind her 2 compatriots and then just sprung a surprise on that final corner, that left-hand turn that leads into the home straight.
She did, and she had a great turn of pace. Nielsen is really trying to take the sting out of any challenges by keeping the pace strong and fast. I thought it would be a little slower, but it's a strategy which has won for her 2 times out now already. Stina Nielsen, why not do it a 3rd time? Brave.
Yeah, she's opened up a 4-5 second gap over Jessie Diggins at the back of the field. Heidi Weng hanging on in there, wearing number 20. Just behind her, wearing 13, is Faller, and behind her, Harsum of Norway. So the Norwegians are there in numbers, but it's Stina Nielsen who's showing them the way at the moment. A gap of 4 or 5 metres, and that's it's big at this stage as they start the long climb for the 2nd time.
Faller, for me, will put the incredible turbo pace on up the steep climb, and I think that's where she's dangerous. I think she'll close the gap to Stina, maybe even challenge Stina up the steep climb.
Harsum way back in 5th place at the moment. She can't afford Nielsen to get too far ahead if she wants to do in the final what she did in the semi-finals. And the margin now some 15 metres. I think her chance may already have gone. Heidi Weng dropping back a little as well. Number 13 is Faller. So the 2 best sprinters from last season are going head-to-head as we go up the steep climb for the 2nd time.
Well, Faller, she judged it. She thought I'll go wide, but that's a lot more energy, so she's had to stay in behind Stina, and I think that's a clever strategy. She needs to get right in behind Stina Nielsen now if she wants a victory.
Use her on the slipstream. Stina Nielsen's skis looked good on the camel humps last time round, Mike. The top 2 decided already. Weng and Harsum fighting it out for 3rd and 4th, but look at the margin they've opened up. Nielsen looking brilliant.
Nielsen is on great form. This was the only bit I thought where they could be knocked off those top 2 positions if they fail.
Heidi Weng looks really uncomfortable on the technical sections. There's an area that she could do some work on, and if it gains you half a second.
I don't think Stina is aware that she's got such a gap on the rest of the chasing pack, who have been destroyed by her incredible pace. Faller won't give up yet. She still thinks she could win this one.
Well, Nielsen skates away round the corner, whereas Faller, delicate little step turns which aren't as effective in terms of generating speed out of the corner, and it's going to be Stina Nielsen who storms away to victory in the 1st stage of the Tour de Ski for 2016-2017. What a way to finish the year. Norway are going to be on the podium not once but twice, and is it Harsum or is it Weng? I think it's Weng who's got 3rd place. She has 3:32.7, 3:26 the winning time. Let me tell you, that is 2 seconds quicker than Stina Nielsen did in the qualifying earlier on this morning.
What a performance.
That's incredible.
And to lead from the gun to the finish line, that's something special each time of asking for Stina Nielsen. I think with the sun on the tracks earlier, the ice, the frost is just beginning. I think the tracks might be a tiny little bit faster.
Heidi Weng's a spent force. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 6 stages of the Tour de Ski to go. It's going to be a tough outing if she's given 100% today.
Well, what about tomorrow? 5 kilometers, Mass Start Classic. For the women, 10 for the men. Stina Nilsson, that's incredible form. That would have matched anybody. If Mara Bjørgen was here, it would have matched me. And of course, if Therese Johaug were here, she would have beaten Therese Johaug, not a sprinter.
Yeah, what impressed me, Mike, is she had a solid start. Then the second time up the big climb, she was incredibly strong. And then she still had something to give. It's no good doing that if you haven't got anything to give over the last 150 metres. And as they say, sprinting on skis is about a triple sprint. One at the start, one in the middle, one at the end. And she had all of them. Big smiles from Stina Nilsson. Let's have a look at the start. Jessie Diggins down in 6th place. Didn't happen for her. Van der Graaf 5th. 1 place better than she was 2 years ago in this event here in Valmesterre. So I think she'll be happy enough with that. Harsson might maybe burnt all her chips on that semi-final.
Yes, I think she did. It was a great finish. But when you look at it, this is 1st and 2, but for 3rd place, there were 3 athletes within 0.47 of a second.
Norwegians just did not look good on those downhill sections. I don't quite understand it. Look at Weng's body position.
Huge tension, eh? Tension through the legs means no recovery through the legs.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that. The men, I suspect the men will be slightly more aggressive on the corners, but Heidi Weng in particular, the knees above the ankles as she's going around those sharp corners. You have to have the knees over the toes.
Absolutely, yeah. More efficient, otherwise you're leaning back. A lot of strain through the quads.
Well, there are your top 3. Stina Nilsson of Sweden, sandwiched between 2 very, very strong Norwegians. Østberg's missed out on this occasion. She will have lost a little bit of ground in her challenge for the overall Tour de Ski, but I wouldn't write her off quite yet. She did make it through to the semi-finals, so she'll pick up some bonus seconds.
And back home in Sweden tonight with the celebrations anyway, they'll be delighted that a Swede took on the 2 very strong Norwegians and beat them.
Well, the Norwegians last year, 7 in the top 10 of the Women's Tour. It was impressive domination. So Nilsson will lead the Tour into tomorrow's 5K. Mass Start 5K. Should be interesting. I like the shorter races. Often the Tours started with a prologue, Mike, which is something between 3.5 and 4 kilometres. It's always been an exciting race.
It is. And with it being a mass start, Stina Nilsson, she's not on paper the favourite to set the fastest time, but she'll be able to stick with the likes of Weng and Østberg. I remember Østberg is rested in a sense from the final through not getting through to it.
8 back and forth together, and now you've taken another one to start the Tour. Extra motivation to win at the start of the Tour here, or it's same as just a regular race?
For me it was very important since it didn't go so well in Davos or Lillehammer, so I'm very happy that it went so well today.
And you were for sure the most dominant at the end there. You probably can't feel where everyone is behind you, but you made a move and only Maiken was able to follow you. Did you know how close everyone was at the end, or?
No, my tactic was just to push as hard as I could, but I felt so strong during the whole day, so I'm very happy.
All right, congratulations on the victory and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
So Nilsson with a win. She actually leads the Sprint World Cup standings already, so she's just extended her lead in those standings ahead. One race remaining. The top 6 men in the first stage of the 2016-17 Tour de Ski. And that is a pretty impressive field. Sundby's done well to get through. He's renowned as a distance man, Mike, but actually the last couple of seasons his sprinting has got better and better, and that's why he's been such a strong force on the Tour de Ski.
And I think in terms, he is, this course profile, it allows Sundby to get his recovery, so he can and it is a long sprint. It's 3 minutes today, and I think that's what's helping Sumbi stay with the real raw out-and-out sprinters.
Can you see anyone beating him in the Tour this year? With Northug's not here, Halvorsson's not here for Sweden, Polteranen isn't racing.
Krog, always good on the final climb, always good at sprinting, always good in the mass start. So for me, he will be challenged.
But Sumbi, definitely the favourite. There he is, wearing bib number 4. Watch him, see what tactics he employs. We know what Harvey's going to do. He'll hang back. He will hang back for the first lap, perhaps even the second lap, and he'll go for broke over the last 150 metres. Finnhagen Krog, he's looked strong. Hasn't won a sprint this year, but maybe this will be the one. Federico Pellegrino, the star of sprinting from last season. Can he do it again? Here is the man who's going to challenge him, Sergei Ustiagov. 4 seconds quicker than anyone in the qualifying run. Incidentally, Legkov, Belov, Villikshanin not racing, withdrawn from the Tour. So away we go. Pellegrino was the man who led in the semis, but it looks as though Krog wants to be in control. Ustiagov doesn't want him to be, so already the pace is high over the first 100 metres.
What a pace that is. Pellegrino hasn't quite had the recovery time. Remember, he was in the second semi-final, so he's 7-8 minutes less recovered than the rest.
Well, let's start from the back. Shanava, any chance?
If he's there in the last 200, yes, but overall, no.
Will Harvey's tactics work, number 25?
For a podium, yes.
Sumbi sitting in 4th position at the moment, trying to stay with the big sprinters.
Sumbi's always clever, and he's got a good turn of pace in the climb. Podium, 4th position, maybe.
Pellegrino, where's he going to make his move?
on the big climb, and he can match anybody. He can beat them all in that climb, and so he needs to be in it at the base of that climb, so I think he will podium.
Ustiagov lying second at the moment. Can he repeat what he did in the qualifying run?
Now he's had to adopt a different strategy, so I think that plays into his favour. If he led again, I would have been more doubtful, so I think he's still got a chance of winning.
And Finnhagen Krog, anything to say on him?
That man just fights till he dies, so you can never write him off.
So Krog it is on the outside, going round that bottom corner, and it allows Ustiagov to get a couple of centimetres ahead, and this may be where the Russian starts to turn it up. Certainly, he's got a unique arm action, Mike. I quite like the fact that his double poling action stops so early, which allows him to keep the tempo high.
Yeah, very much. And Alex Harvey, we didn't see what happened to him. I think he did take a stumble, and really now he's out of it. Big time, you know, he must have, off camera, he's had a problem out there.
Now this is where Sumbi has to stay with the leading 3, otherwise he's going to find he's struggling in the closing stages, but as far as the overall Tour goes, he's done exceptionally well. Pellegrino makes his move, trying to get from 3rd up in a second, but he stumbles on the steepest part of the course, and that hands Ustiagov a lead of some 10 metres, and Pellegrino has not got the energy to challenge again.
That's a real pity. He tried to go wide around Krog, it didn't work, and for both of them it tied both of them up, allowing Ustiagov, predictable in a way, to get so far ahead.
Well, with the 3 big Russians, Legkov, Belov, Villikshanin, not allowed to race, Mike, you wouldn't have put your money on a Russian winning this one, but Ustiagov has been outstanding from the very early stages this morning.
He has. I don't think we've ever seen anybody in the men's field break the field in the time trial earlier by 4.3 seconds.
And he's still pulling clear. Pellegrino's gone into 2nd place. That's where the race is. Krog and Sumbi all vying for positions on the podium. Pellegrino usually quicker the last 150. He leads that chasing group at 3 at the moment. Krog looking for a space. Sumbi trying to wind it up, but I think he'll give up the ghost before he comes across the line. It's Pellegrino still in 2nd. Ustiagov's the winner, and Krog, who did the donkey work early on, takes 3rd. Sumbi 4. Harvey taking a tumble. He's going to be 6th, and Shanava, I think, has to be happy with 5th. It's been a good day out for him.
It's been a very good day. That pace was brutal. Look at the time. It's even faster once again. Every time we see Ustiagov out there, he goes faster and faster.
Wow. There are some triceps there. He's a strong man, but I was when he started to make the break, which was just before the steep section on the second time round, Mike, it was, what, in the space of 5 metres, it opened up a gap of 2.
Phenomenal. I've always liked Ustigov. He was a very talented junior, but sadly this horrible cloud over all Russian sport at the moment spoils it. It really does.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but it is true. And Pechukov has also been taken off any ability at the moment, under investigation to take part in World Cups as well, the sprinter. Pellegrino tried.
He'll be disappointed. Second's great, but he's used to winning, Pellegrino.
He is. I think he will be disappointed. His only chance was to try and stick with Ustigov on that last big steep climb. It didn't happen.
He would have been better sticking behind Ustigov coming out off the bottom corner, just trying to match his speed. He went for a burst, but as we saw, he took a stumble just before he went over the crest of the hill, and that gap of 5 metres turned into 10, which turned into 20, and Ustigov really had a very, very easy win. There's something unique about Ustigov's arm action, Mike.
And the way he brings his left leg, his left arm doesn't even come behind him. Most others, the left arm does. He really reduces the flow, therefore increasing his leg tempo, because generally your arms follow what your legs are doing. Your legs follow what your arms are doing.
I was going to say.
Yeah, he is an outstanding sprinter.
And your whole body follows what your head is thinking.
Exactly.
He was thinking positively all the way through the day. Never looked in any danger in the final. Pellegrino missed his chance. Maybe a tactical error. Maybe he just didn't have it in him. But he fails to win his third Tour de Ski sprint stage, which is a shame. We would have seen a little bit of history there. Well, there's the top 6. Ustigov, Pellegrino, Krog will be the leading 3 in the Tour de Ski when we start tomorrow. For the men, it's a 10K classic. Well, the crowd just starting to file out of the stadium here in Valmoster. Disappointed that Dario Colonia didn't get past the first stage of knockout. But, Mike, in terms of the women's, Van der Graaf did really well, 5th place.
Yes, that was a good day for the Swisskov, who lives in Davos and is happy in Valmoster.
Ustigov, 3rd in the Tour de Ski last year. He leads the 2016-17 edition. But for how long? Will he be able to hold off the likes of Martin Jonsrud Sundby, who will undoubtedly be strong in the 10K tomorrow?
Oh, it'll be a great race, 10 kilometres here.
Well, it's going to be a busy weekend. Of course, the cross-country skiing from Valmoster, as you know, don't miss the start time of that. 11:45 you're watching in the UK. Biathlon, the Four Hills, actually, I'm not sure why biathlon was up there. The Four Hills Tournée is one of the big attractions over the New Year's period. David Goldstrom on site for the Four Hills, and that's got a long, long way to go. Second phase being competed tomorrow. Thrills and spills in Valmoster. Some high-pressure racing. Great news from the Brits. 2 Brits getting through to the top 30. Andrew Young looking good in the first round. Andrew Musgrave looking very strong indeed. But it's Ustigov of Russia who takes the win in the men's sprint event here, the first stage of the Tour de Ski.